Okay, welcome back, everybody. We are coming back into regular session for our Monday, September 16th briefing of the Mason County Commission. We're going to move into community development. Luke, welcome.
All right, can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, so good morning. I am just speaking today to let you know the Mason County Historic Preservation Commission at the next commissioners meeting on the 24th would like to read a news release for 5 open positions that we have on the Historic Preservation Commission. There's 4 open positions and then 1 up for renewal that we would just like to advertise. And so that news release is attached and someone will be there next week to read it.
The one that you have up for renewal is, are they agreeing to reapply?
They should be, yes.
Oh, but they haven't yet.
Haven't yet reapplied. Nope.
Gotcha. Okay, commissioners, everybody good with that? All right. Thank you very much, Luke. Got anything else for us?
Nope. Thanks for your time and have a nice rest of your day.
Have a great day. Next up, we're going to move into support services. Mark Neary, welcome.
Got to find my mute button. So we got a request from Skookum or the bleacher use. Diane?
Morning. Yes, Skookum Rotary is asking if they can use the bleachers again from MCRA Park. We have a no-cost agreement that Mark can sign, and they come out and get the bleachers, and then they bring them back, and something we've done for several years. The board good with that?
Yep, I'm supportive, commissioners.
Absolutely.
I'm as well.
Thank
There
you.
you go.
Jen, you're up. Oh, I don't see Jen on here. Well, I'm sure that Diane can give Jen a call real quick, please.
Yeah,
And we
Bo's
will.
here early.
What's that?
Bo's here.
Yeah. I just wanted to talk to the commissioners about potentially having a elected official director meeting in October and see what you guys thought about that.
I love the idea.
Yep.
October's pretty full, but I think all of my events are in the calendar, so if we can just make sure we're all in town, that would be great.
I was thinking about Tuesday because it's in person and then they can come to the chambers and you guys are there.
Which Tuesday?
Mackenzie, do you know which Tuesday we are looking at?
No, I don't think we've determined which one. We'll look and see we're trying to avoid, the ones with have the budget workshop. So it might be like mid-October.
I just asked that we not do the 15th, please. That's my birthday. I'm gonna try and do something.
Okay.
I was just gonna say the 15th looks great.
Yeah.
It could be
Yeah.
a birthday party, Randy.
And then the 22nd, I'll be in Wenatchee.
Okay.
Do we want?
Well, here's the thing. Go ahead and do it on the 15th.
Oh,
I got something in there that says build, and I have no idea what it is, so I'll probably still show up for it because that's what I'll do. So,
Well, and what if we do it? We could do it on the 8th in the afternoon.
Yeah, we could. We'll look at the agenda and see, that's a meeting day. So, and if it's a light agenda, we can even do it,
Yeah.
later morning. So,
Well, yeah.
well,
have a
we have the
budget
workshop. I have
on
in
the
my
link.
phone for that.
okay.
Yeah, it looks like we have the budget works. I blocked from like 10 to 1 because if we have a short meeting,
Okay.
but we could do it in the afternoon if that works for the other commissioners.
On the 8th?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I have Mace Com at 3, so we'll just have to plan around that.
Okay. I'll work with Mark and Mackenzie on finding a good day, probably a Tuesday. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, Jen might be away from their desk there.
Yeah,
So
I
I
tried
also,
calling. So sorry. Yeah, I tried calling Jen and no answer. So
yeah, me too.
Okay.
So I'll just move on to the next item that I had there. As the commissioners know, Green Diamond has approached Mason County to see if we had any interest in working with them to purchase Mason Lake Park. This is something that we would really need to do a little bit of homework beforehand. And so Diane's helped us put together a RFQ for these services. The RFQ would really go out and look for qualified consultants to come in and do an appraisal, as well as a review of the annual financials associated with it, right? Because we've got to look at it from a perspective of what would it cost us to operate the campground, as well as what is a reasonable price. I think once we have that level of information in, then we can start to look for alternatives or pathways, working with Green Diamond to see if it's feasible to move forward with that. So I was wondering if the commissioners would be okay with us going out for this RFQ. We would receive the responses October 31st, 2024, review them, and then come back to the board with a recommendation.
I'm good. Commissioners? Yep,
Yep.
everybody's shaking their head.
Good deal. And then we have a contract with Richard Beckman Realty Group. As you all know, they've done quite a bit of work for us in the past when it comes to selling property or purchasing property or doing market analysis. Had a great relationship with them. They've done it for a while. We went out and did a deal in 2020. When I did that, or in October of 2022, excuse me. 2022 is the most recent one. When I did an RFQ for this the last time, Beckman Realty was the only company to respond. And so we did that. We entered into a contract with them in October of 2022, and it has an option in it for a 2-year extension. So I wanted to talk to the commissioners about how you'd like to move forward with that.
He's done an excellent job, but on top of that, the time before that when we went out, I think this is the reason why we only had one to apply this time. It was such a huge difference in what they were wanting to collect from us from the other one that did apply.
So if that's the case, I could definitely interested in what the other commissioners think.
Yeah, commissioners?
Yeah, I think given that you have the option for a 2-year extension and the response that we've gotten in the past, I would take advantage of the option language that you have.
I looked through it. It looks fine. And he's done a great job. So
Okay.
There you go, Mark.
I will reach out to Richard and see if he'd be interested in doing another 2 years with the county. Thank you for that. Alrighty, so now that was all I had, but we've got Jen here now, I think.
I was doing it without her.
Yes. Oh, good job, Jen.
I'm reading
Perfect
your
timing.
stuff. I look forward to this part. Go ahead.
Yep.
Yeah, sorry, I thought I was right on time, but apparently I was late. Sorry about that. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Just one moment. Okay, so beginning on page 2 of the financials packet, we are looking at August of 2024, comparing August of 24 to August of 23. In the general fund revenues, we have received so far $30,543,000 this year compared to $30,189,000 last year. We're at 68% of our total budget this year compared to 71% last year in revenue. Benchmark is 66.6%. Moving on to the treasurer's revenue detail. We've received so far through August 20 million. Oops. No, don't want to replace that. 20,119,000 compared to last year, $20,001,580. So we're very comparable there overall, 69% this year compared to 70% last year in total revenue in the treasurer's office. Moving on to expenditures in the general fund. we have expended 31,080,000 this year compared to 28,398,000 last year. We're at 59% of our total expenditure budget this year compared to 59% last year. One thing to note is the indigent defense is at 87% of their total operating budget, where or their total budget, including operating salaries and benefits. Benchmark is 66.6%, so they're well over. So we'll be bringing forward another briefing on that, asking for a budget amendment for indigent defense. In the special funds and other comparisons of revenue sources, community development, we're at 2,262,000 this year in revenue compared to 1,753,000 last year. So looking good compared to the last couple of years. Detention and corrections is pretty small compared to the relevance of the other larger things on here. Pretty much everything is up except for homelessness prevention filings. Although that actually is up over last year. So that's a good sign, but over the previous 4 years, it's down because of interest rates. Even REIT is up slightly over last year. That's good. The sales tax we have received through August, 6,345,000. We are on track to receive about 9.7 million by the end of the year, and we've budgeted 9.2 million for 2024. So sales tax is still looking good. We're pretty even with what we received in August this year compared to August of last year. So that looks okay. The 6-year financial recap. So our cash balance right now is 27,275,000. We have all of our reserves here that you can see that are in our reserve policy. Some of our reserves are not in that policy, so I'll work on maybe updating that policy and bringing those back so that we have a more accurate picture of what's actually reserved. We have the LATCF funds, which are about 800,000. It's an advance grant that is unofficially going to be expended on Building 10, so that's not included in here, but it is in our cash balance. We have community development's restricted cash balance in here, which is roughly $1 million or so. So that's not stated in here, and then a couple of other smaller reserves that should probably be shown in here as well. We've budgeted currently 25 million as a placeholder for the beginning of fund balance for 2025. It's not budgeted, but it's estimated at 25 million, which, looking at last year's cash balance at 28, our beginning cash balance for 24 was about 26 million. So just looking at where we're at right now, 25 million is probably pretty accurate, but I'll take a closer look at that moving forward. We're at about 68% of our budgeted revenue again in the general fund, and 59% of our budgeted expenditures for 24. Our special fund cash balances total 64,323,000, and that's well above the previous 5 years. The motor pool summary, we've budgeted in 24, 1,935,000. We've expended 978,000. So we're at about 50.51% of our total motor pool budget. Some of our vehicles are starting to come in, so you'll see this capital upfit number go up in the next few months. The special fund revenues, we're at this year 40,290,000 in revenue compared to last year 39,400,000. We're at 64% of our budgeted revenue received this year compared to 65% last year. So that looks very comparable. The expenditures, in the special funds, we've expended 34,568,000 this year compared to 32,917,000 last year. And we're at 46% of our total budget this year compared to 43% last year. The county debt, we're at just under 16 million. So we have 15,699,000 in total county debt at the end of August. Any questions on any of the financials?
Just a statement for the commissioners to take a look at this page for a minute and wonder if there's some of this stuff this year, because I think we all agree, being in the amount of money that we're having in the ending fund, at one-time expenditures are easier because they don't have a bow wave. We might want to look at a couple of them, like the jail, and I don't know, such a big one to look at North Bay, but just thought I'd bring it up since this page is up.
Do any of these have penalties if they're paid before?
I believe one of them does, but I don't have it on the sheet. I'll check with Lisa again on which one that was and get back to you on it.
Okay.
But one thing to note too, a lot of these have different funding sources, so, or not a lot, but
Yeah.
Well, actually, most of them, yes, have different funding sources. So, I mean, you can see the different funds that pay.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't think want to take the general fund and just pay these off.
But we can also pay it out of our REIT. We have quite a pocket going on REIT, but we should just look at it. I think some of these, especially. Mark, I saw your hand up.
Yeah, Commissioner, I was just kind of looking at the interest rates, right? And so obviously a lot of this debt was well managed back when the interest rates
Yep.
were super low. And
Yep.
so when I look at how much we're making on idle cash right now through the treasurer's office and the state treasurer's local government investment pool, I don't know. I mean, it's pretty, this was really cheap money back then.
It's pretty cheap now.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think we should use
Well,
our.
now I think that we would see, and we'll see one, right? Because we're going to get ready to do a RID for Shetland Road. But I would imagine that interest rate's going to be closer to 6-7%, but
Yeah, it's a different world.
it is a very different world.
So what else you got, Jennifer?
That's it.
Anybody have any questions for Jennifer?
Hi, this is Lisa. I just
Hi,
wanted
Lisa.
to note that yes, you will see higher interest rates for anything we're going out to bond for at this point.
Have you got a number that you've seen out there in the market?
It's going to be 5 to 6% right now.
Thank you.
What are you making on the local government investment pool, Lisa?
Currently it's about 5.2%.
Yeah, pretty amazing. We definitely saw that in our revenue numbers, for interest. So
We will, and they expect the feds to cut rates later this week, so we'll see what that is. So that will impact our interest moving forward.
Yeah, I keep hearing that, and then it doesn't happen. I don't know, the markets, though, just for homes have been going down on their own. Okay, what else we got? Anything else? Commissioners, anything for Jennifer?
Nope.
Thank
As
you.
usual. Great job, Jennifer.
Thank you very much.
So that's all we have for you for support services.
Okay, anybody have any questions for Mark? Okay. I saw that we have Bo and everything on the line. Quite often at the end of support services, we'll have these other discussions. Kevin, is this something you wanted to bring forward earlier rather than later?
Yeah, I guess since everybody's here, now would be a good time. So just I wanted to bring forward an opportunity for us to expand mobile integrated health. We've been super supportive of this in the past. We have an opportunity here to take it to South Mason Fire, which would be tremendous for the southern half of the community. But also Mason Health has agreed to match whatever the county would put into the program to help get that stood up, and then provide administrative support and other structural support to the program as it expands throughout the county, which is I think a direct result of the hard work that North Mason Fire has done to prove the model, and something that we saw Commissioner Netherland at the video screening a couple of weeks ago. And so I would like us to have a conversation about utilizing some of our opioid settlement funding to put into this, and potentially some treatment sales tax. Both of those fund balances are healthy, and make a 2-year commitment along with Mason Health in order to expand this program. And I just think the opportunity is now to do that while we have new partners that want to come into the work with us. And I think the benefit to having Mason Health involved too is, and Chief probably could speak to this better than I can, but one of the things that we've talked about quite a bit here is wanting to see this program be sustained by itself, essentially. And I think the expertise that Mason Health would bring in the billing department to be able to help with working through the insurance companies and Medicaid and all that kind of stuff eventually takes the burden off of us. But I think the proposal that North Mason has to expand this really checks a lot of the boxes, from the opioid settlement funds through treatment sales tax, and then the flexible funding from Mason Health rounds that out. So wanted to get that in front of the commission. I'll defer to Commissioners Netherland and Trask about how to incorporate Chief into the conversation here. Always happy to hear from him, but wanted to get that in front of us today.
Yeah, hold off a minute, Chief, because one of the things about this one, this is one of those ones I think we already know. This is a no-brainer as far as I'm concerned. It has been from the beginning. So the next question I would have would be for myself. I'm not meaning to get in front of Commissioner Trask, but I'd like to know the numbers. I'd like to, or at least have the numbers said publicly. What numbers are we talking?
So I think that the request for us would be to put in 150 from one or both of those accounts, and then the hospital would match 150 per year.
Again, for me, that's pretty low. So I'm more than supportive. Commissioner Trask, I know you're aware of this whole program as well. Are you in need of more breakdown, or do you have any concerns?
No, I love the idea. Now, how is this? Because I know Dave has been talking about a similar program. At least I think it's similar. And then also in here it says a contribution of $250,000 per year for 3 years. Is that different than? I mean, how do we get the 150?
So that's our contribution. Then you add the 150 from Mason Health into this, and then you have some additional startup costs that I think are in there. So that kind of rounds things out, and gets the expansion moving forward. I do think. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think the two are separate. We'll be discussing the other. I'm going to be supportive of that as well. But on this one here, I think it's a low bar. That the ask is very low for what we're talking.
Oh, I'm not questioning the service at all. I'm just hoping that it's not overlapping what Dave wants to do.
Go ahead, Dave.
Dave. Oh, sorry,
Yep.
Dave.
So we do have a meeting, I believe it's Wednesday, from 2 to 4, to go over with anybody who's interested in doing mobile health in Mason County, to look at what's being done, what people hope to be done, so we don't have overlap, unnecessary overlap, because there's gonna be overlap, right? But not have unnecessary overlap, and just try to get a handle on who's doing what. So PCHS is coming. We're gonna be there. Invitation went out to Bo and his team. I think Choice is coming over for that as well to listen to what's going on. I just got back from the National Mobile Health Association conference in Texas. Just got back last week. So there's a lot of stuff to go over. And have an organized way of looking at mobile health in Mason County.
And is Chief Balkin, will you be at that meeting as well?
I will be. Yes, absolutely, I will be.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I love the idea. I think it's a cost saving, it's a benefit to everybody. And so absolutely support everything. I just want to make sure that we're all working together and everything's good.
Yeah, I truly believe that they're gonna accent each other and it just gets better and better. Do we have any idea, not that it matters right now, because there's money in both funds. Do you have any idea of a request for which funds it should come out of, percentage wise, or just because I think we're strong either way. I think it can come out of the opioid personally and just.
I think I would probably look at funding the psych AR&P element of this out of the treatment sales tax, and then the rest out of the opioid.
Okay, then let's put this together and make it happen. I think you have a yes all the way around, Chief. So let's put it together and get it before us. I think we're agreeing to put it on the agenda. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, and for me, it's not a yes, it's a heck yes.
Okay. There you go.
Couldn't agree more. And I think that there's a lot of people that want to get into this space in the community, and that's a great thing. I think for us to be able to bring in Mason Health, though, for the first time on a program like this, and they're enthusiastic about it. Eric Mall has just been, I think, really excited to learn about this program, and he's taken the time to go up to North Mason and see what you all have been doing. And I just think that's really an exciting opportunity for us. And because we fund this doesn't mean we can't or shouldn't work with others on their program. It's just, I think we need to stick with a proven model here, and that's exactly what North Mason provides us.
Yep.
Yeah, does Chief Balkin want to say something?
Well, one, thanks. And echoing what Commissioner Schutte was saying, this is, the piece that we've been missing up north is the connection with the hospital. We've tried with St. Michael's, with discharging patients, and we have fits and starts, but, to St. Michael's, we're pretty small potatoes. And so to have the relationship like we would have with Mason General, and again, Eric coming up and seeing what we're doing, and then talking about rural healthcare designations, which increases Medicare and Medicaid reimbursements, and just having the whole arm of the hospital, not just supporting it financially, but with services and just going all in. There's no stopping where this program can go. And of course, we know, there's 3 times, maybe even more than that, the need down in south part of Mason County compared to north. So to be able to, get almost all countywide coverage with wraparound services like this, thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yeah, the South Mason's been waiting. They've been doing a lot on the side, just waiting to get the pieces together. So I'm glad to see it's happening sooner rather than later.
And
So, go ahead.
for a while, it was the north end was jealous of what was happening in the south end. So I was extremely jealous of what was happening up north. So I'm super excited.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move forward with that. Put it on the get it together, written up, get it on the agenda, and let's get it through. All right. Anything else on that, commissioners?
No, that's cool.
No, not for me. I'm excited.
Okay, then let's go ahead and move forward to Public Works. Loretta Swanson. We're even 2 minutes early. What you got?
Morning.
Good morning.
We have 3 action items for your consideration this morning, commissioners. And first up, Richard is requesting action for some on-call engineering services.
Morning.
Morning.
All right. So yeah, Public Works, Utilities and Waste, we're seeking authorization to procure engineering consultant services for various projects related to utilities and wastewater management, water management as well, including emergency response efforts. This is something that's already, we already kind of budget for this kind of stuff, anticipating it to hire if we need to. We just don't really ever have a vehicle to make that happen in an efficient manner. So this really has no budget impact to us that wouldn't be planned or or approved through a budgetary process. It just will make it a lot more efficient for us to be able to accomplish these tasks when they come up. And then so we plan to utilize these through the MRSC consultant roster. And if not, we'll go through the normal public notice process if we need to hire an engineer outside of this scope.
Okay, I'm supportive to have the same going around there. Commissioner Trask, supportive?
Yep.
Commissioner Schutte?
I am as well.
There you go.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
All right, next action item request, commissioners, is we're requesting approval to authorize the chair to sign a project completion amendment to the Public Works Board contract for the Belfair Sewer Extension. So now that the project is closed out and we have all of the final accounting, it's time to convert the construction loan to the convert our construction home loan to the final loan. And so that's what we're asking for approval. And this was one where we had originally, our estimates were conservative as we went into this project, and are happy to report that the final loan amount is less than what we were assuming when we went into the project. And I believe we don't have a final, and we won't have a final amortization schedule until this conversion document is prepared, but Stephanie's online here, and I believe we're looking on the order of under $170,000 on average for our payments for another 17 years. And that's at a 3.59% interest rate, or excuse me, 0.54. Beg your pardon.
Commission okay with moving forward? Commissioner Schutte?
I am.
Commissioner Trask?
I absolutely am, and I am so excited because 5.2 million is going to be able to go back out into other communities. So de-obligating those funds is spring forwarding other projects that other people have had, emergency projects or whatever, but there's a lot of applications out there in other communities that people need money for. So I can't tell you how excited I am about this. This is just, it makes me happy, makes my heart full of joy.
Yeah, and it's been, oh, I'm sorry, go
I was
ahead.
going to say, Loretta, it looks like you have 3.
Okay, all right, thank you. Next up is a request to set a hearing for a franchise agreement. And this is for a renewal of an existing franchise for the Riverhaven community.
I have no issue, commissioners.
Good with me.
Good with me as well.
Okay, on it. And now Richard has exciting news to introduce a new employee.
Yeah, I'm just looking for him. I don't know if he's online or not.
You are welcome to bring him for a Tuesday grilling. Please do, and then we'll
come on, Commissioner. We don't want to run him off.
I was gonna say I hope he's busy.
Let's ease into that one.
You know how it is. You always feel like you're welcome and at home if they tease you when you first come in, right?
I think you fit in. So yes, I've finally, after I don't know, I gave up count on months. Let's just say 20 plus. We've hired a water wastewater manager. His name is Ralph Scott. He's most recently been employed with Irwow, which is just down the road from us, as a circuit rider for them around to all the different. He was on a federal project traveling around at all the different tribal wastewater treatment plants, extending help to them and helping them solve their problems. Previous to that, he worked at Bainbridge Island for a number of years as a lead operator. My most happy experience that he has is he spent 11 years as the maintenance manager at the city of Medford's wastewater treatment facility. So he's very, very highly skilled in maintenance, and Lord knows we have that to tackle. So he's one of the few people I know currently that's been doing this longer than me. So real happy about that. He's also a Group 4 operator, and he's excited to be here. And another one of his big skills and that I get a good feeling about is just he's definitely a team-oriented person, likes building teams, and I think that will help us retain employees as well. So I'm really excited. Can't wait for you to meet him.
Wonderful. All right, what else you got, Loretta?
That's it, commissioners. I guess maybe a update or quickie update. The thefted materials up at Tunerville were found Friday, apparently. So there's a whole little story about that, but
Well, share some of it.
just that there was a fight and the fight led to a police response, and our sheriff's office contacted us and said, we found some of your items along with some other items as well. So a couple of our supervisors went up and had to disassemble a structure to recover some materials. That's the Reader's Digest version.
Well, that's good. That leaves me enough to think about. That's interesting.
And you can paint the rest of the picture.
Does anybody have anything for Loretta? Commissioner Trask, you have anything?
No, I have nothing.
Mr. Schutte?
First off, that's an incredible story. That's just unbelievable, but at the same time, very believable.
Yes.
Just one item, I guess, to flag for you, Loretta, and for the commission. I had a really good meeting this morning with Steve Rourke, Representative Griffey, and Wes Taylor from Taylor Shellfish, talking about Lynch Road and 101. And it sounds like Representative Griffey is going to be trying to get after some study money for us, and DOT in transportation budget next session to do some additional evaluation of that general area, in particular the intersection there at Lynch and 101. So I wanted to flag that for you all. That might be something that we circle back with Deb on in terms of some priorities for next session, and just if and when Representative Griffey gets that into the hopper, then something we should be tracking and supporting.
Commissioner Schutte, I think if he gets that in, I think you could already ask us right now for support to do it, and I'm already on board with you. It needs to be done. Commissioner Trask, can you agree with that as well?
Absolutely. It's one of my main drags. So,
Yeah.
Yep.
So just make it happen if it comes up, and let's get that. Get a hold of Deb. Tell her now that we're there. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. That's all I had.
All right. Anything else for Loretta? All right, then you're going to start off our next part, right? Review of Department 2024-2025 projects and priorities.
Yes, commissioners. I'm going to start with just a question. So we have a lot to wade through, and I don't want anyone nodding off for lack of excitement. And you should have a couple of spreadsheets that were sent with some tabs, basically by program. And if we spent around 5 minutes per program, we're here for another 40 minutes, which is completely fine with us, but just wanted to do a reality and time check. And if there's something commissioners want to zero in on or focus on first, definitely appreciate that.
I was gonna say, Loretta, I think because all three of us are seasoned now, there's nobody or nothing new here. So if you want to go through and just hit the quick highlights, and then we can ask more information on something as we see fit. That makes a lot more sense. And as long as this is in the packet, the public will have access to it too. So just please go ahead and do the regular short form as though we know what we're talking about. And if we don't, we'll ask you.
Okay, that sounds good. Commissioners, do you have any preference on any particular area to start with, or just walk through?
Yep, however you're doing it will be great.
Okay, good enough. Well, I'll start with so first we'll start out with the solid waste program, and lots of fun things to report here in terms of accomplishments. And probably the biggest that we can all celebrate is the fact that we have a new contract for the transport and disposal of our solid waste. And that took some doing. Appreciate commissioners and everyone's efforts on getting through that process, but it's behind us and that's good. And one of the things that's still in progress as a result of that is the deployment of the possum belly trailers. And I know that Richard's been poking on that. Yes, Richard?
Yep.
Yeah, and that's expected for full deployment in November. Much like everyone else who's trying to purchase equipment and specialized equipment, that's had some delays as well. And one of the things that we will need to be keeping an eye on, we've been keeping pace in terms of our tipping fees and having enough revenue to cover our operations and some future capital, but we're getting to the point where we should be more closely monitoring that. And Stephanie's been great about providing a lot of what if scenarios and working with Richard and Kevin on future investments. And so that's something that we definitely, absolutely want to talk with commissioners about next year, and what your vision is in terms of modernization of the facility. And we're starting to scope that right now. Maybe Richard, if you could talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know about you. I grew up here and it's not a dump anymore. And I don't want it to look like a dump. And I don't want it to resemble one in any sort of way. There's a lot of land there and there's a lot of improvements and we just don't have a good grasp on what's the best thing to do with all of this property, with all of our needs, and how to best scope this. So that's kind of where we're going is to just like the whole modernization master plan for that site. Now that it's being, we've got approval for closure on the monitoring, and it's just time for it to become what it is. It's a transfer station. It needs to look like it, and it needs to be efficient and a place where people, they want to come and they don't have to sit in line and have a lot of questions and confusing signage and stuff like that. So
Okay. All right.
That's what we're looking for.
What else you got, Loretta?
So kind of along the same lines, some other commissioner items that we will be looking for your guidance on next year is our Dropbox and recycling contract will be coming up either for renewal or the question whether we want to go out for an RFP on that.
Okay, well,
And then
I want to stop you on that one and remind you, earlier is way
Yes.
better because we've been through this stuff before. Please,
Yep.
I'd rather see that much sooner than we have in the past, please.
Absolutely. So you can see there on the spreadsheet that the contract expires in 26. And so right now we're speaking with you about exactly that. And beginning of the year, we'll present some options and we'll want a decision early on, because if the decision is to go out for an RFP, yes, we need to get moving on it pronto. Yep. And then similar decision, commissioners, we've had some potential options for managing our household hazardous waste. And so we would like to shore up some options for you to take a look at and see if there's anything that you would like to do different in that regard. And that too would be something in early 2025. Anything?
Just want to add scale. North Mason need to be able to utilize our own when the time comes, and it's awful hard the way it's set up. You can't.
Yeah.
Somebody comes in with a U-Haul, like myself, you can't.
Yep.
Just doesn't pencil right.
Yeah. So that also has to do with basically whether that transfer station is even useful or if we can have a scale there. So that's part of what we need to take a look at is there a different site? Do we need to relocate?
Yeah, I think Loretta when you and I were on our little journey.
Mhm.
We talked about that as well, because North Mason is growing. It's not going to
Yes.
get any smaller, so I'm sure we'll need to work on that site. It's kind of small.
Yeah, it's got some constraints. It's an odd shape for one, and then we've got some wetland buffers, and it makes it tough for expansion. But that's something we need to look at. Is it possible to expand? And if not, where would be a better site for
What's
the
the ground
Belco
like there?
transfer station?
Loretta, what's that ground like there? Because that's been there many years. And I know when I was younger, they had leachate problems going into the wetlands down below, and there was all kinds of things that happened back in the day. Has all that been remediated? We all good there if we were to close it up, or is that going to be a extreme?
There is nothing identified on Ecology's website, Commissioner, in terms of needing for remediation.
Good. We probably should have that checked though, just for laughs,
Yeah.
sooner rather than later if we're gonna do something. Because like I said, growing up here, that wetlands that was just past it, it used to just travel underground, come up there with beautiful rainbows.
Great. Okay, speaking of closure, I know that Richard mentioned it earlier, but this is great news. We're moving forward with final landfill closure at the Eels Hill site. And so that's super exciting. We expect to get the gas wells decommissioned this year and go out to add for the monitoring wells. And that should wrap up. So that's a big deal. And very excited and proud of the work that the team's done on that.
I just thought of something. I don't know if we can get to it, how it would work, but you know where that rail yard is? He owns that whole other side of that railroad track. Having rail access for moving of trash might not be a bad thing. It's a large piece of property, very large.
Where are you referring to, Commissioner?
When you're going up the hill, you have the roundabout there. You have the rail yard
Yes.
up on top.
Yep.
On the other side of the tracks, he owns all that as well. It may be
Yeah.
something else to consider.
Yep.
It's a big piece, and rail access is not a bad thing.
Yeah. All right. Anything else, commissioners, on solid waste?
Not for me.
One last thing. I'd like to call out and acknowledge Kevin and his team, and in particular, Kevin's work with the Solid Waste Advisory Committee. It's been a real pleasure to see how that committee has become more and more engaged, and Kevin and Wendy's facilitation on that team, and it's been nice. So just a little shout out for Kevin and Wendy and Richard and the Solid Waste Advisory Committee.
Wonderful. Okay, what do you got next for us?
Commissioner Trask had a hand up, sorry.
Oh, sorry, Commissioner.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
no, my hand wasn't up, but my hand was clapping because they do
Oh.
an amazing job. So.
Yeah. All right, and then water and sewer utilities. I'm gonna hand it off to Richard. I'll stop yakking for a minute.
What, you were doing fine.
I'll back you up.
Let's start at Russellwood Water, kind of what we got going on there. So chlorine, as far as the turbid water goes, we've been really keeping a close track on that and system pressure. We cleaned the reservoirs, we replaced the pressurization pumps, we rewired the entire station with new controls. Just a ton of things. And I can make contact with regular customers out there on a monthly basis, and every one of them has been telling me that their water quality has been great since we've made these changes. Their only complaint currently is we do experience some low pressure times. Think we have that nailed down, and it will also help out with the water quality is we're going to get rid of that pressurization tank, which is a big trap for any turbid substances that get released, and then install VFDs to maintain that water pressure at a right now instant, instead of experiencing any low pressure systems or low pressure events. Let's see, so that's been going on. We continue to monitor that. And that hopefully that'll be paid for through the grant funds that we have currently available. We're installing, I've priced them out. We have 6 different sample points for our normal routine samples of Russellwood. Those are done at homeowners' houses, and that's really not that's fine for if that's all you got. But we're at the point now, we're sophisticated enough that we're installing dedicated sample stations, sanitary sample stations. So that'll also help in providing more accurate and reliable sampling station and testing results. Let's see, what else do we got going on at Russellwood? And also, yeah, since it is exposed, it's open with not a lot of trees. We're looking at working with our metering provider using the grant money to convert those to fully automated live read that is downloaded to our computers, very much like the PUD does, very much like Belfair Water does. So that will be a test for the metering, and hopefully that improves that, and it can be employed at Russell or at Beards Cove as well. So that is Russellwood water. I guess we got Russellwood and Beards Cove water meters. We can talk about that. All meters have been installed. We read them on a monthly basis. We've been quantifying the qualitative checks on the data we're getting and going right back out to customers if it's questionable in any way, whether it's high reads or 0 reads or low reads, and make contact with those customers, see if we do water meter type leakage checks with them, and we just verify that the meters are going to be accurate and get a process down so that when we're ready to go to that, there won't be any hiccups, and it's just we're getting that information out to our customers, so there's going to be no surprises to them as well.
Richard, on that, please. The only surprises that we're getting right now is information that may be way over the top sometimes, and make sure you have a second reader before you send that out to people, or maybe even a first reader. They may be printing it and just throwing it out there. Somebody needs to re-verify before these people get it and lose their mind.
Exactly. And that's the whole point of these tasks, is to get a control on the data and the information that gets shared and when. I mean,
yeah,
there may be other extenuating circumstances, and the more we get familiar with this and familiar with our customers and their habits, the better off it'll be. For sure.
Commissioners, I'm going to share kind of a quickie spreadsheet here. This doesn't have any customer information, but just to give you an idea, this is what Stephanie and her team, and working with Richard and his team, are utilizing on a monthly basis. So once the meters are read and downloaded, you've got what the previous readings are, what the consumption is. Here's this is all Beards Cove here, and then you can see where folks are. This is over 2,500, and so these are the folks that are receiving certified mail, and then an idea of what their bill would be based on the rates that would go into effect in January. And so then there's notes as well. I don't know that where there's been follow-up, and sometimes it's something to do with the meter, but very, very rarely at this point. Now it's typically the customers have a leak. And Steph, feel free to jump in and share any other details here.
Absolutely. So each month the utility staff will go out and do the meter reads, and we will take that information and create these spreadsheets so we can identify who we've sent out certified letters in previous months to notify them that they had high reads. We've deemed that excessive water usage is anything over 2,500 cubic feet per month. And then we send out a letter and let them know that they either have extremely high usage and that's why they're receiving it, or they may have a leak and that they may want to investigate it further. And we let them know what their potential bill would be when the new tiers go into effect. So that's on one end. If they have zero usage, we actually have Wendy reach out to the customers with zero usage and find out if maybe they don't have usage, or if we need to investigate further and see if it is a problem with the water meter. And so we keep notes on who we send out certified letters to, who we hear back from, and any other unusual water usage.
Yeah, and here's an example. So a new tenant moved in, house was under reno, so there was very minimal water use and it showed up as a zero read. So each and every account has basically a monthly review and following up on anything that looks like any type of an anomaly. Any questions about that process, commissioners?
If you get time, could you put together one of those spreadsheets, especially for Russellwood as well, and just send it over to me so I have it to look at when I get a call?
Yes, absolutely.
We do it for both utilities, right?
Yep. Yes. All right. Anything else on the utility report, Richard, that you'd like to highlight or call to commissioners' attention?
I mean, a lot of this is beard. Let's see. I mean, nothing's jumping out at me that's except for like, okay, Beards Cove. I'm going to be coming to you very soon, just more informational with a schedule. I don't know if I'll have the full thing, the full bid package ready for you to go, but basically using up the funding that I have available, the ARPA, the 2 grants available to start replacing the pipes and valves inside of Beards Cove. We're going to start right in the dead center at Larson Lake, where there's been some past pipe leakage that has caused some road damage. We're working with the road department on this project as well. And yeah, so I'm really happy about that. I've had the entire system mapped, came up and inventoried and mapped it. I'll tell you, our current as-built show there's 79 isolation valves, and before the mapping, only 40 were findable out of 79. And so that's why I hired this firm. They came out, they chipped away different parts of the asphalt, found all the valves, tested them, told me what size they were, how deep they are, and whether they work or not. So now we got a good idea what's going on at Beards Cove, and we can start addressing that in a better fashion. So that's the big deal with Beards Cove right now, what's going on, what has been going on. And I'll tell you that what the look ahead is, I've still got to replace well number 5. If well 4 went out, I got a weak well 3 that'll help us along, but I will be coming with you for next year to replace well 5, and then we'll be in really a lot better shape in Beards Cove.
Thank you. Commissioners, do you have anything, questions regarding sewer utilities?
Not for me at the moment.
I was gonna say, I'm glad you chipped in because I can't see. I have you at the top of my screen. Then what else you got for us, Loretta? What's next?
All right. Well, road construction, I think you're probably fairly familiar with what we've been up to there in terms of our annual construction program, but happy to entertain any questions. Mike and Jeremy and Dave and Cobry and all the team have been doing a fantastic job in delivering the program, despite kind of some hurdles in terms of being understaffed and kind of the same situation on the state side of things. So it's been kind of challenging.
Where are we at on that deck repair on the bridge? I know we were looking to maybe go out and put another topping on it. What did we do?
It is done. So they completed the crack seal, Commissioner.
Okay, I'll drive out there and take a peek.
Yeah, it's, we were just out, Friday, I believe. And it seems to ride pretty smoothly. It's not the most beautiful deck in the universe, but, and of course, we'll need to be monitoring that and just make sure that things are holding up as intended, but, it is complete.
Just a little funny thing, I got somebody who was so mad at Tahuya Blacksmith, I thought we were gonna get in a real altercation. And about a week later, the lady came up to me, gave me a great big hug and wouldn't let go of me because she was so thankful for what she did there. It's just welcome to our community. I love it, but I think you guys are doing some great work. What else you got for us there?
I don't know that there's anything really that I want to highlight. I guess Evergreen Estates, that's kind of chugging along. We've got some documentation that the homeowners need to sign, and this is one of those that's kind of on the bubble. If we can get it out to add, we will. This construction can go anytime. This is not one that's severely weather dependent. So you'll see that this is also budgeted in 25 in the event that we don't quite get her out and done this year, but we're still pushing to attempt to get that completed this year.
Read that last line on the bottom of the screen for me and explain that.
That we are the first county to fully meet our annual funding obligation requirements.
Yeah.
Is that the statement? Yeah. So we have federal funds that we must obligate by a certain time every year. Is kind of a use it or lose it thing. It's not kind of, it is a use it or lose it. And so if we do not obligate, then we can be potentially penalized and lose, I think, up to our annual allocation for the SDP is right under $900,000 roughly. These are our surface transportation program funds. And out of all of the counties, Mason was the first to have all of our funding obligation right out of the gate. So there's quarterly meetings or monthly meetings actually about where are you, counties? Have you obligated your funds? Are you going to spend these funds? Because it's the state's job to make sure that we're putting those funds to good use. And so this is a huge deal.
Yeah.
And hats off to Cobry in particular, because this is something that she's always meeting, Cobry and Dave, but primarily Cobry, meeting with local programs to make sure we're on track to make that happen. So that means getting our design, getting our bid packages prepared, and getting that all obligated and out to construction.
Commissioners, any questions regarding road construction?
No, great job.
Okay, what you got for us next?
Okay, and then on the operations side, just to give you an idea of the hundreds of activities that our road operations team are carrying out. So lots of drainage work this year. Small and large projects to address ongoing issues and reduce long-term maintenance costs. And then we had some repair and rebuilding work on the maintenance side. Some of this was in preparation for our paving and our shoulder widening activities. And then we've got the slide repairs that were FEMA eligible. So hats off to not only our operations crew, but our finance team. This is a tremendous amount of work in terms of paperwork and documentation, and definitely appreciate their efforts and patience more than anything in moving that along. So Pickering is starting. We were waiting to get off the Toonerville project, but we should be, I think Roy and his team are out prepping for that as we speak.
Okay.
And quite a bit of bridge maintenance work, and we'll continue to have quite a bit of bridge work in the years ahead. And our chip seal program next year, you can see there, we did have to push off a couple of the roads that we were planning this year into next year. And we've got some interagency department and fund work. I'd like to call out a thanks to our fire chiefs and departments who entered into the ILAs this year and can provide some plow work. So definitely appreciate Mike and Jeremy and certainly our fire department partners in thinking about how we can expand services and do the best we can with a small force.
Okay. Commissioners, anything for road operations?
Not for me.
Nope, other than you guys are doing a great job out there on Lynch. The sides of the roads look amazing, so.
Oh, good.
You guys are very busy.
Always, yes. Yeah, I would like to highlight a couple of things just in terms of personnel. It's always been one of those jobs and positions that have been fairly easy to fill when we've had openings, but in the last couple of years, it's become a little bit more challenging. We currently have 2 operator positions open, and we'll have a third open here in another month or so. And it's been a bit of a challenge. So
Those all require a CDL?
they do, yes.
I'm actually making sure the public knows that.
Yep.
Come apply, great place to work. Okay.
Yes.
What else you got for us, Loretta?
Okay, so this is things that don't necessarily fall in another nice neat bucket. The Skokomish Ecosystem Restoration Program. So this one, commissioners, as you know, land acquisition has been a real slow go, despite some great help from outside sources. And so now we're making a pivot here. And reapplying for a grant and moving along. But this has been a tough project and will continue to have challenges. And SmartGov, we have made some good headway, I would say, on that, but we still need to make continued progress. And goals for next year are continued SmartGov literacy with more of our team, but we've got, gosh, at least a half a dozen folks that are actively using SmartGov and becoming more engaged in terms of participating on pre-apps and basically entering our own information in the program. So I'm happy to see that that's happened. We, as you know, adopted road standards, also to support the community development activities. So that's a good thing to check off. And comprehensive plan update, been participating on that, as you know, and then certainly some economic development activities as well. So I definitely want to hear from you, commissioners, about any areas where, particularly on development review, economic development, if there are things that you are wanting to see the department step up our game or not, or definitely appreciate hearing your thoughts on that.
And that's something they can touch with you later, unless you have something you want to say to her right now. Commissioners, have anything you want to say right now? See his head shaking no. Okay, what else you got, Loretta?
Okay. ER&R. So we talked about the updated interlocal agreements earlier. And Stephanie and Pete have been working in terms of refreshing and revamping our asset management and replacement strategies. So definitely appreciate both of their work in that regard. We had some cameras installed to improve our campus security. And let's see, so we've also made some improvements in the inventory process efficiencies. And as we've had some retirements, have used that as an opportunity to take a look at workloads and duties. So some quick highlights there on the R&R side. Any questions, commissioners?
Questions? Nope.
No.
All right. What else you got for us, Loretta?
Okay, so on the admin side, we've been working with Mary and her team, as you know, on the non-rep position descriptions and updates and going through that process. And that was much needed and continues to be a need here in the department. In terms of community engagement, we talked a little bit about our advisory committee support. And then we've had some specific outreaches with Island Lake, Lake Limerick, various communities around the county. This is an area where I think that we can still make improvements in terms of how and when and where we're engaging with our community, but that's an ever-changing landscape, right? With technology and just people. So records management, Kelly and her team have been doing a huge revamp, like many of the departments, in terms of scan, save, and toss and get rid of paper. And so that's been a big undertaking and continues to be an undertaking. Let's see. We've drafted fee revisions, keeping current on public works and procurement changes. That's a big effort that's really hard to explain, quite honestly. But every year there are more and more changes in terms of our procurement policies. We have made some code revisions and completed some facility upgrades, and of course just our normal annual reporting that we undertake. So those are some highlights for the admin section. And then if I could just quickly touch, we've got some future purchases coming up in talking with IT about servers and facilities with just paint and facility maintenance activities. Any questions on the admin?
Nope. Everybody's shaking their head. What else you got?
All right. A big blank screen. No, Steph. I've got Stephanie's accomplishments. We'll save the power the power horse here for last. Stephanie's been kicking through a lot of actions, so I'll let her highlight all of her great work.
All right. Thank you, Loretta. Thank you. Good morning, commissioners. So in 2024, Public Works, Utility, Waste, and Finance team have been focusing on improvements in all areas of finance. So when I came on board, first thing I do is kind of just take a little bit of an assessment and see where we're at. And then I had a really good kick up because I knew where to focus right off the bat with an SAO audit. So we started off there. So in order to resolve areas of concerns with the SAO audit, improvements and oversight in the daily cash reconciliation process for solid waste was implemented. Our team focused on process improvements, segregation and duties, and additional training. And so finance now has a daily reconciliation process, segregation of duties, and we've implemented the additional training. We've given the daily reconciliation packet to SAO when she was here doing the audit earlier this year, and she's given a clean bill of health to that process. And we implemented a process for the chain of custody for cash and checks. And so that was all implemented very shortly after I came on board. Additionally, to secure the cash, one of the other things that we implemented in 2024 was that Brink Smart Safe. So a big thank you goes out to the treasurer and her team for working to get that Smart Safe approved and installed for us out here. One of the other things that we implemented were the monthly financial reviews for the directors and managers each month. And so it just provides a clear financial picture and helps locate discrepancies. And so we're not only doing the monthly financials, but we're reconciling and getting all that good information out to the directors and managers. For account payable, so at the request of the CFO's office, finance was asked to start electronically scanning documents into Munis for accounts payable. And so we got that implemented this year, and we are caught up year to date for 2024. So big shout out to the finance team here for getting those scanners implemented, training, and getting that caught up. Additional, we have accounts receivables. We focused on collecting the final dozen Belfair Get Connected loans that were still outstanding. So at the beginning of 2024, it was estimated that we had about $48,000 in the Belfair Get Connected loans. And so once we did some cleanup, we realized it was closer to about 30,000, and we're sitting at right at $20,000 that we still have to collect on those Get Connected loans. But we're at about a dozen loans that we're still looking at getting collected. So customer accounts are reviewed monthly.
Great job on that. Great job.
We're getting there. And we're sending out and reaching out to those Get Connected customers, either, offering them to get paid off earlier and just staying on top of them. Customers' accounts are reviewed monthly. Outstanding accounts are being reviewed for refunds. We had a couple accounts that we recently cleaned off and were able to get about $12,000 refunded to a customer that's been outstanding for a number of years. And so we're just getting through those. We're working with risk management and legal on getting a process started for collecting accounts that are past due, that are not associated to a home where we could lien them. So these would be solid waste customers. For the water and utility rates, these were set earlier in the year by the board. Finance continues to have concern where these set rates being to see if they're sufficient to cover the operating expenses, the capital costs, debt service, and sufficient reserves adequate to meet the needs of unforeseen repairs in the future. And so when we go to the new tiered system, we'll be monitoring that cash flow because we're not quite sure how customers are going to react with conservation and if we will have an increased AR aging and bad debt. So we'll continue to watch that. What else have we implemented? We're working with the risk manager and the finance team to ensure that all staff complete timesheets that are reviewed and approved by their supervisors. So this was a project Nicole came in earlier this year and asked our staff to implement. And what else did we get done this year?
What didn't you get done, Steph?
So then on top of providing financials to the directors and managers, we're actually going to the SWAT committee and providing quarterly financials for that committee also. And so we're looking for opportunities to get out in front of the community and present the financials for transparency and just being able to let the community know where their utilities are. So in 2025 and the rest of 24, we're going to encourage financial accountability in areas such as assets and project management, collection, segregation of duties, and improving the overall financial literacy. In 2024, finance implemented enhanced grant tracking, accounts payable, and receivable process. And as we get better at these processes, we're going to start documenting these processes so that we can carry carry that knowledge on going forward. Finance is working to improve the collection of guardrails and sign damages. So in 2024, finance has been working with legal and risk management on improving the collectability of these traffic incidents. Currently, we have about $100,000 in traffic damage that we're trying to collect on. That's about 30 traffic accidents that cause damage to the roadways, the guardrails and signs. So the county has several options in collecting these amounts. It's submitting a claim to the vehicle owner's insurance, going through the Department of Licensing and suspending licenses, going through the court system to get restitution on amounts over $1,000, or setting up payment plans. And so we're working with legal on locating individuals that we don't have current addresses on. So we're just going to work on improving that process and working together with the different departments. One of the things that we are looking at, it was a 2025 goal, but we're actually starting now, is streamlining the ACH and check processing system. So currently all checks and ACHs are entered manually into our accounting system. That's nearly 1,500 customers at North Bay, 450 at Beards Cove, and 600 between Russellwood and Belfair. So there's a lot of opportunities for human error. And we're just looking at operational efficiencies and trying to improve that system. So we were able to implement the system of importing the point and pay credit card system recently. And so we're looking at utilizing that same process for ACH and checks in CAMS. And currently the board has provided a high-level budget review from the budget manager. Thank you, Jennifer, earlier. As we're all aware, utility rates and waste management are crucial financial aspects that affect the community and the state auditor's office. And so we're looking at ways to engage the board and the community in cost of service analysis and providing not only financials, but getting feedback. And so that's what our focus is on next year.
And Stephanie, are you talking about actually sending out like quarterly financials within utility bills to kind of educate the public?
Yep, that and provide, and maybe having them online on the website so that each different utility has the opportunity to review those. But we've been trying to get, currently the focus has been on Russellwood and Beards Cove and how the tiered water rate is going to impact people individually. And so when we start seeing the especially Russellwood and Beards Cove, we'll monitoring those and letting the community know how that's affecting their utility.
Yeah, and also the commissioners, right? Because
absolutely,
the utilities are the ones that we need to pay closest attention to in terms of financial health.
Yep, and we're and in all honesty, we're looking at ways as how would the board like, Public Works and the utilities to provide financials, not on, the overall county, but, to be able to give you more timely information when we're setting these rates so that we're not coming to you with, this is what it is now, but, we can see how these are going through the year.
Yeah, the look ahead.
Yep. But that's what finance has been working on.
Thank
We
you.
have a great team over here.
You've done a spectacular job. Absolutely. Commissioners, I'm sure you want to comment on this one a little bit.
Yeah, I'll just say I really appreciate the entire presentation this morning. I think it's great to see, number one, how much you all have been able to accomplish this year, and we still got a couple more months in 2024. So I know that you're not, taking your foot off the pedal at all. So that's really exciting. And then, to be able to kind of look ahead and I think there's definitely some good stuff here. I want to spend a little bit more time, maybe, looking at some of those goals and having a little bit more of an opportunity to weigh in on those here going forward. But everything that I've seen today from a project perspective, from an overall management perspective, I think is really on the right track.
Mr. Trask?
Yeah, and to see where, or to think about where we were and where we are now. So happy that you came on board, Stephanie, and happy to, or excited to see what lays out in the future. Well, great job. Just really impressed.
Yeah, there's a lot here to be proud of, from the whole presentation to the very end. I always love when we clear up with, and we end up with money at the end, and the numbers. The one thing I always appreciate the most is, well, when they go this way and they look like this for being fixed, and just appreciate it. All right, Loretta, what else you got for us?
I think that's about it, commissioners.
Okay.
So what would be important to us, I think, is as the commissioners digest all of these details and think about things, if you were expecting to see something on there that you didn't see, then please reach out to us and let us know. And then also kind of keep in mind, how would you prioritize some of the work that's going to be done here, especially for 2025? Understanding the commissioner's priorities and where you'd like us to focus and ensure that we see progress in areas, super important for us, and kind of focusing the work of all of our staff. So would appreciate feedback on those.
Yeah, the one thing I understand is we have to be a little flexible there, because sometimes you get more done because you happen to be next to it, by it, or already have the stuff prepared to make it happen. And that's all inside baseball that we have to rely on them to tell us.
And they do a great job of that. I mean, on all different sections, I think that they're really focused on how do we get things done efficiently.
Okay, anything more on this? Then I want to thank you, Loretta, and all your staff.
Yeah, and thank you, Mark. Thank you. Mark's been a tremendous assistance throughout the year and in helping us accomplish these things. So he's been wonderful in being able to shape and frame issues that maybe I or the team are not able to, or provide a different perspective. And so definitely very much appreciate the help in working with commissioners. So thanks.
Absolutely. We're going to see, I'm excited to see how we can continue to improve it. So.
Okay, so next up is commissioner discussions. Kevin, did you take care of what you needed to? You have anything else?
No, I think I'm all good. Thank you.
Commissioner Trask, do you have anything for commissioner discussion?
I don't think I do. And as far as calendar goes, I'll be out of town most of the time for meetings, and so there should be no commissioner meet and greets.
All right, then I will entertain a motion.
Well, just real quick, commissioners.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just to let the commissioners know, I think you all are aware, but this week is the Washington Finance Officers Association conference, and so you have a team of folks heading there, me included. I'm taking off tonight because I have some classes first thing tomorrow morning in Yakima, but we will be there the rest of this week. I'll be in contact through email and kind of stay in touch with what's going on here, but just wanted to let you guys know that we'll be over in Yakima.
Well, if all those people are there, nobody's allowed to spend money till they come back. Simple
Exactly.
enough.
It's well, no, they're all going to be working on their budget presentations for your guys's workshops that are coming up.
All right, I will entertain a motion.
Move we adjourn.
I'll second.
It has been moved and second. We adjourn. Hearing no objection, we are adjourned. Have a great one, everybody.
Everyone.
Thanks, everybody.